Hello, hello. This is Patty Joe. I was successful getting the first half of this guy's testimony up. So we're going to head off to the second half of it and let Daryl try to make him look like a liar, which is just not going to work, and do a whole bunch of stuff I don't understand that is apparently solves it. Okay, so let's move it on. Yes, I'll do.
In your so you have a written statement and a statement that you gave to Officer Barrett. Would that be fair to say?
I don't remember the name of the officer that took my statement.
Would it be fair to say that you were interviewed by an officer, a female officer?
Yes.
And would it also be fair that you gave a written statement to that same officer?
I think I signed the statement that she wrote.
So be fair to say that the officer wrote down what you told her.
Yes.
And do you remember the date that interview took place?
A couple days after the parade incident.
Any reason why it wouldn't have been the same day as the parade?
I would assume that they were rendering aid to the victims of the incident, and it took a while to get back to anybody that had called in with any altercations, or not altercations, but interactions.
Do you recall stating in this interview that you saw the news and a picture of the male driving the said SUV?
Almost a point. Daryl, you almost have a point, which is you identified me, but it was that from the interaction or is that from the news? Almost a point. Let's see if he can bring it home.
I believe in the statement I said that I wanted to provide uh, a description of who I had the interaction with before I saw any picture of anybody on the news.
Oh, too bad, Daryl. Swing and a miss.
So you never stated that since the incident and before the statement that you saw the news and the picture of the male?
I guess I don't understand the question.
Because that would make no
In
sense.
your statement that the officer wrote down. Well, let me back up. Did you see a picture of the alleged defendant on the news?
Yes, but not before I provided the description to the officer.
Swing and a miss
So
again.
the
Strike two.
description that you gave, would that be the same officer that did the interview?
I called the evening of the incident. I called the non-emergency line and provided the description at maybe 10:30 that evening of the event, and then provided the same description to the officer, a few days later.
Um, do you recall why you called the non-emergency line for something that would have been so big that it should have been?
How dare this guy? I mean, first of all, he stops at a stoplight going the correct way on a one-way street, getting into Daryl's way. And then he insults the great Daryl Brooks by calling a non-emergent line for an interaction with him. Well, everything would be like top priority, wouldn't it?
An emergency call?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Please rephrase the question, Mr. Brooks.
It's also
Any
entitled.
reason why you would call the non-emergency line?
Yeah, someone going down a wrong way on a one-way street a few minutes before the parade didn't seem like an emergency.
Didn't seem as emergent as all of the people you ran over. Oh my
Compared to what
god.
had happened at the parade.
So would it be fair to say that you were then reporting someone going down the wrong way trying to get into the gas station at that time?
At what time?
At the time that you called the non-emergency number?
I wanted to report that I had seen someone in a red SUV going the wrong way down a one-way before the parade, and the possibility that it was connected to the red SUV that I had seen drive through.
And I'm smart enough to know that I can't make the determination whether they are related. That number one, people who are investigating, people who are charging, and then ultimately the jury will make that determination. I'm sorry, I just had to finish his sentence for him. I feel like I know him.
Do the parade.
So that non-emergency report, as you state, would have been to make a possible connection between the two incidents?
I was just reporting what I had seen.
So at that time, would it be fair to say you weren't sure if there was a connection?
I would say that I had a red SUV 5 feet from my hood, and then I saw a red SUV drive through the parade and wanted to, notify the police that I had seen that.
So at the time, were you sure that there was a connection?
Pretty sure, yes.
And what would have made you pretty sure?
The color of the SUV, the approximate age of the SUV, the timing between the 20 minutes of where I was in Waukesha to the 25 minutes later that I had seen the red SUV go through the parade.
Would it be fair to say that you just described the SUV that made the wrong turn going into the gas station as a older model? I think that was your correct words. Is that fair?
Yes.
It's over 10 years old.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to make the connection between the older model SUV that you saw going into the gas station and the one that you saw in the parade?
Okay, Beefy has anxiety, did all of these early on, and I loved it. It was something I couldn't do myself because I couldn't bring myself to do them. He was hilarious. He is hilarious. Love the channel. He gave some narcissistic ways that narcissists will try to win arguments. Arguing semantics is what he is doing right here. Arguing semantics. We already got the special me sense of importance. How dare you call, how dare you get in my way while I'm trying to go down the wrong way on a one-way street? How dare you call the non-emergent line for me because I'm so important? But here he's arguing semantics. Anytime he says, is it fair to say? 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 He's just making statements. He's testifying. And it's almost like frustrating that they don't call him out on that more often, but I know they're giving him leeway so he can't say it wasn't a fair trial.
No, they were
Blah,
similar
blah,
age.
blah.
I guess older subjective. I mean, it was a similar age, the one I saw before the parade and the one I saw during the parade.
So it'd be fair to say that you weren't exactly sure.
I'm pretty sure they were the same vehicle.
That's why he called.
Do you recall in your statement saying that you were 95% sure?
Oh my God.
That sounds right. Yes, 95%. I would give that same percentage. Yes.
Why not? Why would you not be 100% sure if you say that you believe that they were the same vehicle?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Please rephrase the question, Mr. Brooks.
Gaslighting and semantics. He's amazing at this.
I guess I'll say it like, what was what put any doubt in your head that they weren't the same vehicle?
I wasn't able to see the driver of the person going through the parade because it was moving so fast.
There you go.
So I
This
guess
is
there's
all
a very,
reasonable.
very small
This is
chance that the
all
red SUV
explainable and
I saw
believable.
beforehand happened to be
Believe you.
a similar year, make, and model and color of the SUV that I saw go through the parade.
So you weren't exactly sure who was driving the SUV in the parade.
Correct.
Do you recall in the statement that the officer wrote down? Do you recall telling the officer that was writing the report that you're 95% sure the male you saw prior to the parade at the gas station was the one driving through the parade route?
As far
Look at
as
the liar
I
lines.
would not be able to identify who was driving through the parade route because the vehicle was moving too fast. As far as I would not be able to identify who was driving through the parade route because the vehicle was moving too fast.
I don't know that helped you,
Do you
Daryl.
recall saying that his voice was the same?
Yes. So when the second interview had taken place, again, I wanted to provide the description to the officer, the visual description the night of. But just as I did now, I'm 95% sure that the interaction that I had prior to the parade was with you.
Is he going to do it?
Who do you refer to when you say you?
Who is you? That is not. Tell me, any attorneys out there, are you going to start like weaving the "who is you" narrative into your questioning because it's so smart? Who is you? You.
Whatever your name is.
Yeah, whatever your name is. But I'm
So
important.
you don't know the alleged defendant's name?
Alleged. No, you're the defendant.
I do. Yeah.
This is why I can't do this for very long.
Would it be safe to assume that if you couldn't see who was driving the SUV in the parade route, that you also couldn't identify if it was the same voice?
The voice has nothing to do with the driver of the vehicle driving the parade. Again, it was moving too quickly. I wasn't able to identify the driver when I saw the vehicle going through the parade.
So would it be safe to assume that you got the description from the news and picture of the person that you seen on the news?
The person and the voice that I saw in the news matched who I interacted with prior to the parade.
But just so we're clear for the record, there was no way you saw who was driving the vehicle in the parade route.
Correct.
Okay, that's actually a point. You can't drive it home, but it's a point.
Going back to the interaction at the gas station.
Oh God.
Do you recall telling the interviewing officer that the driver of that vehicle rolled down the window to say, "I'm almost out of gas"?
Yes.
Yeah, so what? Nobody cares about you, Daryl.
Do you recall backing your vehicle up to let the driver of that car into the gas station?
Yes.
Do you remember how far you backed up?
5 feet.
Do you remember telling the reporting officer who was writing down your statement that it was 10 feet?
5 to 10 feet.
That detail is not going to make him a liar. But did you ever notice that Daryl, when he raises his forehead, eyebrows, his forehead lines, those I call liar lines because he is like trying to make everybody as big of a liar as him.
Was it 5 feet or 10 feet?
It was enough to let the vehicle into the gas station.
I don't know.
So
I
would
didn't
it be
measure
safe
it.
to say that you don't recall?
It would be safe to say it's between 5 and 10 feet.
Yeah, 5 feet for your car, 5 feet for your ego.
After your initial non-emergency call, it was the night of the parade that you made the non-emergency call, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I got that.
Do you recall how long after that you were then interviewed by law enforcement?
A few days.
Did you try to attempt to call and report again?
Yes, I think so. I think I'd called again maybe a day or two later, just because again it was when I first called the night of. They seemed to be pretty busy, so I called a day or two later just to make sure that anybody had taken down the statement that I had made the night of, and then it was a couple days later that the officer came out to interview me.
Would it be fair to state that at that time you were still uh, seeking to report what had happened at the gas station?
That's correct.
So you weren't seeking to report any connection between the gas station incident and what you saw on the parade route?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. He may answer.
I was calling to report what I had seen before the parade.
And the second reporting was before you actually were interviewed, correct? Just so we're clear for the record.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat myself, and I know I'm repeating myself, but, it's for the record. It's for the record. What is this for the record thing? Okay, the guy called that night. He didn't think that the gas station thing and the parade thing, he thought they might be related. He thought it might be important. Not for him to decide, but he knows it's not like directly parade related, so he calls a non-emergent line. 1, 2 days later, he says, calls back to see if they still have his name and number, to make sure. A couple days after that, he gets interviewed. This is not complicated, Daryl.
What do you mean by the second reporting?
The second time that you called to make a report about the gas station incident, that was before you ultimately were interviewed by law enforcement.
That's correct. The second call was just to make sure that they still had my name, and I didn't really file a formal report that second time. It was just a call to see that they still had my name and contact info, and they had said that an officer would be out eventually to interview.
At that time, when you called to make sure that they still had your name on file, or your report about the gas station incident, at that time, had you made any connection to that incident and what you saw at the parade?
I'm going to object. We've been through this.
Sustained. It's been asked and answered. Mr. Brooks, I draw your attention once again to 90611.
Noted.
Next topic, please.
Noted.
Noted.
And
His
were
hairline. Those braids or whatever, obviously not all of his hair. I mean, he had some more hair and he tied those things in. I don't know exactly how that all works, but I do have friends and family members who wear their hair like that. So I know that's basically how it works. You braid or twist or in some fashion do the hair that you have in a certain way and then continue in and include whatever else, and that's those long things that was what that was. But how did he justify in his head that it looked good with this hairline? Like, what, he's got like one or two like really short ones on this little island here, and then all the way back here on his from his seven head. Oh, Daryl and
You
his
subpoenaed by the
hairline.
state
Oh
of
my god.
Wisconsin to testify here today.
Here we go.
That was either the state or the county. I received a letter from the county.
Did they identify as the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you see the state of Wisconsin in the courtroom today?
Objection, Your Honor, vague.
Sustained.
To the best of your knowledge, do you know if the state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Have you ever had any interaction with the state of Wisconsin?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Ever had a phone conversation with the state of Wisconsin?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Do you even know the state of Wisconsin?
Same objection.
Sustained.
Mr.
And you,
New topic, or I'll stop the cross-examination under 90611.
one second. Did you, do you recall how long approximately you were stopped at the red light during the gas station incident?
A minute or two.
Did you ever see the vehicle that went into the gas station actually get gas?
When we turned left onto Barstow, I noticed that the vehicle didn't stop for gas and was gonna either exit to go back on north, but it didn't stop at a gas pump.
Did you see the vehicle pull off from the gas station, or was it just kind of stationary parked?
I
Thank you, Daryl. I actually had that question because later on they find out that the SUV had very little gas in it. But so he goes into the gas station. This guy doesn't see him stop at a pump. And then minutes later at the parade, he comes wailing through. And how is that actually puts more credibility to them being the same vehicle?
can't say to what the vehicle did because I was already at that point out of view. I just know that it had not gone to one of the gas pumps.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. You may step down.
Awesome sauce. I wonder what that does.
State may call its next witness, please.
Thank you. The state calls Hollyberg.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there for right now and post this one as well today. Thank you very much for joining. Like, subscribe, and share if you want to. Have a great and wonderful and safe day.